Tyson Fury back to action. Yes, he did. He took on Otto Wallin. And this got a little bit more competitive than people realized. He takes I think it was a left hook in the corner, gets a huge gash, then gets through the course of the fight a secondary one on top of the eyelid, and then Wallin, who kind of made it, scrappy affair to an extent through the course of the fight, puts it on Tyson Fury in the 12th. I legitimately thought he was going to get, I don't know if close to a stoppage, but Fury looked
close.
Fury looked like he was having it rough that time. All right, what is the lesson from this? If you had to think about what was your big takeaway from Fury, who, by the way, gets the unanimous decision nod. The fight is still on with Deontay Wilder, all things considered. But what did you learn from this, Brian?
You want to take a knee-jerk feeling, and I get it, to try to be like, see, Fury, this is why you don't take two in-between fights, right? Tom Schwartz and now Otto Wallin, who the hell are these guys? We want to see the rematch against Wilder. So I see where you could say that. But Fury got through so much. This was a hellacious fight. It was a fight in which tactically he sort of dominated in the second half, yet that presence of that fight being close to being stopped at any point. I mean, Terrence Bud Crawford tweeted out, if it was any other fighter, that fight's getting stopped. And you think about it, we have the unbeaten lineal heavyweight champion of the world. Some people don't recognize or care about lineal. Guys like me know it's the only currency that truly matters in this alphabet era. So he's holding on to something there. The Wilder fight, the big paydays are dangling in the balance along with his unbeaten record. And Fury digs in and really has to back up all the wild words he always says. Every interview is off the rails and wild. We talked last week. He hung up on me on my podcast, told me...
He didn't know the name of his opponent when he was on my show.
Told me him and Bob Arum are out banging prostitutes. I mean, he just says wacky stuff at all times, but he always says, I'm a fighting man. I'll fight to the death. That's all I know. That's all I do. And some of us at times laugh at that because his style is so technical. It's switching stances. It's speed. It's agility for a 6'9" fighter that's just not normal. So what did he have to do in this fight from the third round on, knowing it could be stopped and he would lose by TKO at any point? He had to dig in there and be the seeker, the hunter, the puncher. And more than that, he did some sly things that we never see him do. He's 6'9" and has a height, reach, and weight advantage on almost anybody he fights. And he was actually using that Vladimir Klitschko style, leaning on Wallin, wearing down his gas tank. So in the end, do you want him to have two ridiculously bad cuts that need 40 stitches each when you're 5 months away from a Wilder rematch? No. But do you want him to actually get a test and actually, for his own heart, know that he had to back up everything he said he was? And he did. And it produced an exciting fight. And yes, we rightfully so complained about the matchmaking. Why are you had 2 gimme fights last year. Why do you need 2 more this year? You know what it proved? You got to watch every heavyweight fight because when that division has players that you care about, it's exciting. And I think Fury actually gains from this experience in the long run, Luke, because he may get in there with Wilder again, and it may get hairy again, and he may not get knocked down again and have to get back up, and he may have to fight his way out of trouble. And you go through this type of experience. You can't mimic this in the gym, Luke.
I see this totally the opposite way, which is to say, I take your point about Wallin. He put on about as good of a fight as I think he could have.
Career night for what we knew about him.
And here we are talking about him. He did well again that 12th round. He put it on Tyson Fury. The rest of the fight, with the cut notwithstanding, I don't know exactly how close it was. How did you score it, by the way? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think I had it 117, 111.
111, that's how I had it as well. In any event, here's what I would say about it. This is a lesson to every heavyweight out there. If you don't take the fights that you know you're supposed to take, if you don't give the fans what they want to see, you're going to get one of these nights where, yes, Tyson Fury won, but that cut, forget the 5 months, that's now permanent scar tissue that's going to be on his eye. And you don't think someone who throws bombs like Deontay Wilder is going to be out there. He's going to be targeting his jaw anyway. Every opponent from now on, he's going to be like Nick Diaz, where they're going to go and target that because it's hard to heal properly. In fact, it never really does all that well.
I've seen Sean Porter up close. He's got them all over the eyes.
They look like they've been hit with like barbed wire. And you talk about how Tyson Fury had to back up all of his talk, which he did. I agree. He didn't need to prove anything. We already knew he was that good. For somebody,
we didn't know he could dig in the trenches and do
we
that.
We absolutely did. Did you not see what Deontay Wilder did to him?
Okay,
I know it's a one-shot.
There's a difference between getting up off the canvas and having to brawl in there, all right?
I understand. He didn't even have to brawl. He was doing a lot of smothering, which we talked about. I always knew Tyson Fury had this in him. Here's what he did by taking this fight. He wasted everyone's time. He wasted his time, and he gets drained with this experience he didn't need to get drained from. He risked losing it all on a freaking left hook in the corner that, by the way, didn't even rock him. It just cut him open. They were perilously that close to losing everything he had built, and for what? To beat a guy now that no one knows, which we now know because he made himself look good and that blah, 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 blah. It was a waste. This is the lesson. You want to take these fights with people you're not supposed to be taking fights with when you know you're supposed to be fighting Deontay Wilder a second time or whoever, any of the other big names. Then this is the risk you run, and this is what you're going to get. You took punishment for no reason. You have risked your now this cut on your eye permanently for no reason. You get what you earned. You get what you earned is my attitude.
I think we both can be right, though.
Make the fights that the people want to see, that the sport deserves, that you said you would do. And if you don't, God help you, because the Andy Ruizes, which is a bit of a different scenario, I understand, and the Otto Wallins, they're going to go in there and they're going to give you everything they got, and you don't need to take that just to keep busy. Do what you're supposed to do. That
fired the hell
out. And by the way,
today.
and that's true for Deontay Wilder too. I know he's got a big fight against Luis Ortiz. And here's the scary part about that. Of all the fights that these big guys have, Wilder versus Ortiz, dude, that might be the most competitive of all of them. And I know he's got the win over it. I'm just saying, it's like, I am going to be watching this fight now, biting my fingernails, being like, what's going to happen? Are we actually going to get Fury too? Yeah. Because these guys are all dancing around the place.
I think the answer, though, is in the middle of what we both talked about. Like, you wouldn't want this, but Fury's going to benefit from that experience, I think, in the long run.
Look, there's no doubt he came out of that and me being like, wow, that dude can box his ass off. Because against, who's the other guy? Tom Schwartz, was that his name? He was doing all the shoulder rolling and the ducking and the dodging, and he looked phenomenal. And this one, dude, he had to just be smart about not slick movement, but about just careful decisions about close contact and how and what punches he threw and in what ways, and constantly being on his horse. Dude, Tyson Fury can box his ass off. I just kind of feel like I already knew that.
Well, I think this was a warning. I don't think he was in top shape, and his dad came out and made some rough comments about the whole team, about the trainer Ben Davidson. They're having a fiery back and forth. Big John Fury. This guy will let his mind go. But Tyson didn't seem in the top level of shape. Maybe this is a wake up call and a warning. How about no more in betweens? And if you have to, take it seriously and get that guy out of there.
Yeah. Last thing about this, what did you make of ESPN? They had Joe Tessitore and I think it was Andre Ward and
Bernardo Osuna was the sideline reporter.
Who's the other commentator?
Tim Bradley.
And they asked Osuna to go to the corner and ask him, are you aware of what caused the cut? And they had thought it was a headbutt versus a cut or a punch. Now, if it's a punch and they stop the fight, Otto Wallin wins. If it's a headbutt, they go to the scorecards. They thought it was a headbutt. The ESPN broadcasting booth corrects him and tells him exactly what it is. Is it the role of the broadcaster to inform the corners that way?
Absolutely not. Let's flip this to like the NBA. Okay, if the coach in the huddle is like, LeBron, you got 3 fouls, we got to be careful. Oh no, in real life he has 5 fouls. Is the ESPN sideline reporter going to run over, tap the coach on the shoulder, and say, "Coach, just to let you know, the ref said it, the scorekeeper said it wrong. He actually has 5." No, like we'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
This is not their responsibility. What would have happened if the ref said one thing or they misinterpreted it? I'm not really sure. What would happen is the fight would have been stopped if it was stopped. But it's up to them to know that.
Yep.
And this definitely feel like it went too far.
Agree.
And the ESPN broadcast in general, to be honest, goes too far in hammering down our throats how great Fury or Lomachenko or Bud Crawford are. You know what? Guess what? We know how great they are.
Yeah,
let them show us. Don't tell us.
You have to let the competitors work with misinformation, right? When you have somebody, who was it? The guy calling the timeout in the end of the
Chris Webber?
Chris Webber calling it the timeout, and then of course the whole thing collapses. It's because he has bad information. They have to know the good information on their own terms. They have to come to it on their own terms. Telling them is inappropriate in my judgment.
Luke saying, "Know your role, get off my lawn." Michelle Pineda right with you.
Get off my lawn, you kids. All right, with that out of the way.